My man, before you dive headfirst into the launch of an equity crowdfunding campaign, let me ask you an important question, and that's, are you 100% certain that you are checking off the boxes you need to in order for investors to take you seriously? Because I gotta tell you, I've coached thousands of founders, entrepreneurs, students, and creators who have used crowdfunding to really take their business to the next level. And all too often when I see a campaign that fails, it isn't because that startup couldn't become the next unicorn or even have a 7 or an 8-figure exit. It's usually because the founders missed out on 1 or 2 critical items that investors were expecting to see. And here's the thing, sometimes when you get launched, you don't always get a second chance at bat. And that's why in today's video, I wanted to break down and walk you through step-by-step this equity crowdfunding checklist to save you months of work, but also to make sure you don't lose the trust of your investors when you go live. And make sure you stick with me throughout this video because I'm also gonna be sharing with you the exact framework that so many of my students have used to get launched and to blow past their funding goals. And this framework is also gonna save you thousands of dollars and months of stress. My name is Salvador Briggman, and without further ado, let's get into today's YouTube video. Now, number one, the top of my list, and that's because so many of the guests on my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, we have over 500 episodes now of founders who have come on and shared their story, have said the exact same thing, is that you gotta pick the right platform going into your equity crowdfunding campaign launch, whether that's gonna be specialized based on the type of business you have, whether that's more in software, it could be retail, it could be real estate, it could be a physical gadget or a gizmo, even a film campaign. You gotta be aware of the platform which you are launching on, whether that's WeFunder or Republic or StartEngine. There are so many equity crowdfunding portals nowadays which you can launch on, and they all have their different specialities when it comes to the types of raises like Reg A+, Reg CF, Reg D, and also the types of companies that are going on those platforms. Make sure you pick the right one or it's gonna be an uphill battle from day one. Number two, and this is very important, but also very much overlooked, and that is, especially if you want to impact the world for the positive, you gotta structure the right deal for investors. You gotta structure the right agreement. If you think about it, any equity crowdfunding portal is really a marketplace of buyers and sellers, of investors and founders, and you wanna make sure you come to that portal with the right agreement that people can say yes to. So by that specifically, I mean the investment contract, whether that's a crowd safe, a price round, a promissory note, could be revenue share, promissory note, it could be a convertible note, right? You wanna make sure that you come to the table with the right agreement so that people can say yes to you and get excited about investing in your startup. Number 3 on the list, this is probably the least fun for founders out there in the audience, and I do love to focus a lot more on marketing when it comes to this specific YouTube channel, but I do have to put this as number 3, and that's making sure you check off the box when it comes to legality, compliance, and disclosures. So in the context of marketing, if you're doing the test the waters phase, making sure you have the right disclosures on your tombstone style advertisements, or if you're doing the marketing yourself as well, being aware of what you can and you can't say publicly when it comes to general solicitation. In addition, if you're raising funds, you have to be aware of how much you're raising because that can impact the level of compliance that you're going to have as a startup company, whether that's having your financials just certified by a CEO or it's going to be more of audited financials. You have to be aware of the amount that you're raising is going to impact that. In addition, just beginning to become aware of some of the forms you might have to file, for example, like the Form C, which you certainly have to file in order to cash out any of the funds which you've raised. Number 4 in my list, and this item I've had so many questions about that I've actually dedicated an entire chapter of my book to this, and this is crafting a powerful story. Have you really put thought into crafting a story for investors that they can get behind, get excited about, and become an investor in your startup as a result? Remember that these investors are oftentimes really looking to participate in a much bigger opportunity and a deal, and they also kind of participate in what's called social impact investing. So this isn't just like commercial real estate, which is really cut and dry and about the numbers. There's also an emotional element to it. So you really have to create a story that captures the public's imagination, gets a stone cold stranger to want to invest in your company because you are impacting the world for the positive, because you do have big goals and big dreams, and they can see a big financial upside, or maybe they're even part of the industry and they can see how you are solving a very unique problem. And plus, you also have to talk about the team that's actually attacking that problem. Number 5 of my checklist is also one that's very easy to just kind of overlook. And that's because a lot of times we're just really stuck in our head, crunching numbers, very theoretical, right, when it comes to our campaign. But if you're not aware that there is a proven structure for you to follow when it comes to your campaign page, you are just saying no to investment dollars. Now, very often when it comes to your campaign page, this sort of mirrors your pitch deck structure as well. So a lot of times when I'm coaching a student, they have issues when it comes to their pitch deck. It also tends to show up in their campaign page. So you want to make sure you're really aware of the important elements you need to have on that campaign for an investor to say yes. And also so you don't have to field so many FAQs as well as you're going live there with your equity crowdfunding campaign. The right campaign page is not only going to tell the story, but also going to support that with critical data visualization when it comes to that page to really draw someone in and make both a strong emotional and logical case when it comes to your startup. Now, what I'm about to mention next can literally make or break your equity crowdfunding campaign's success. And if you really do value learning and studying and just kind of getting upgraded when it comes to how to launch one of these campaigns successfully, I do have a free course out there, which you can check out at the link in the description. This is a free equity crowdfunding course, which is going to share with you step by step how to get your campaign up, but more importantly, how to market it, how to really get investors on that page, how to drive traffic, how to go viral. That's what I talk about in this course, which you can check out at crowdcrux.com/equity course. Again, go to the link in the bio. You can enter your name and email and join that free course at crowdcrux.com/equity course. But let's get into the next point. Point number 6 can be a little bit intimidating for any founder that's out there, but you definitely want to check this off on the list, and that's really having the right video and creative assets going into your campaign. If you go back into the archives of my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, where we've had over 500 guests, you can listen on iTunes, on Spotify, or a version on YouTube. Every single 7-figure equity crowdfunding campaign has really thought a lot about their video, their pitch video, but also the creative assets on their campaign page. The video is absolutely the first thing that cold stone strangers are going to see when they come to your page for your equity crowdfunding campaign. So you got to make sure you not only include the hard, fast facts when it comes to your raise and kind of that supplementary data and important information when it comes to your target market and your technology and your team, but you also do want to continue that storytelling to give investors kind of a bite-sized idea of what the team is like, what the demo is when it comes to your product, and also some of your brand and higher order values. Because if you think about it, this is more of like a consumer pitch versus a pitch to institutional investors. This is more for retail investors. So put a lot of thought into that video. The number 7 item in my checklist is one that I am freaking passionate about, man. I absolutely love this item, but also I understand a lot of people do struggle with this one as well. And that's why I devoted another chapter in my book to this completely. And this is marketing and PR, and really using this as an opportunity to not only have investors discover your company, but also to get exposure when it comes to your brand, your product, and your services. My man, if you're doing a Reg CF or even a Reg A+ style campaign using equity crowdfunding, you can engage in general solicitation, which is just a fancy word for being able to sing your praises online. You can do banner ads, you can run Facebook ads, you can do PR, you can build email lists, you can do social media, you can do all of that. So why not take advantage of this? This is the whole reason why this whole new regulation of regulation crowdfunding came into being, so that you can use the internet to really kind of be the foundation behind this campaign. So make sure you thought out your marketing campaign correctly. And if you want to learn more about this, I got a great book out there called Equity Crowdfunding Explained. You can go down below, you can grab a copy of Equity Crowdfunding Explained, and whether that's on Amazon, you can get a paperback version, or you can listen to it on Audible. It's a great way to learn about how to market your equity crowdfunding campaign specifically. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. We're moving right along and demystifying crowdfunding as we go, which is sort of my promise and one of my brand statements when it comes to this channel, and also all my work at CrowdCrux and all of the work that I put out there. I really do pride myself in putting out high quality education so you can be more prepared going into your equity crowdfunding campaign launch. Now, the next item that you got to check off on your equity crowdfunding checklist is that you've studied the phases of doing a launch. And that's That's because it's not just one single event when it comes to your launch. There are really phases to this. To kind of break this down, not only is there the preparation, sort of the ideation phase, getting everything ready that you need in order to go live, there's also the soft launch phase, also known as the test the waters phase for an equity crowdfunding campaign, where you can do tombstone style advertisements as long as you have compliance and sort of disclaimers in those ads. You then also have the live phase, which is around 60 to 90 days where you're live on the equity crowdfunding portal. Plus, you then have people who maybe want to do a rolling close. So there are different stages within that live phase. For example, posting updates, doing webinars, fielding investor calls, doing things like a rolling close where you can cash out the funds ahead of time and be able to then continue with your raise. Plus, after the fact, if you haven't hit the $5 million mark when it comes to your raise, which is within a 12-month period, you can raise $5 million under Reg CF, you can continue to raise funds and go on to another platform. And that's why we've had guests and students who go from one platform, launching a campaign, say on WeFunder, and then continuing to raise funds later in the year on StartEngine or on Republic. So this is a much bigger scope when it comes to raising funds for your startup. And I think that as a founder, you just need to be aware of that and really have a timetable in mind. Number 9 on the list is having a written out launch day strategy. So by the launch day, I'm really referring to those 24 to 72 hours when you're live. And that's because this is a window of opportunity. It's easy to get people to invest during that window of opportunity. Plus, the platform algorithm is going to be triggered if you do begin to bring investors in quickly during that sort of launch timeline window. So the sooner that you can begin to get people to take action, not only is it easier to get more people to take action, to leave comments, to post updates, to sing your praises, to do celebrations, it kind of begins to build a little bit of this snowball of momentum, which is going to trigger the platform's algorithm so you can begin to rank well on that crowdfunding portal. And number 10 in my equity crowdfunding checklist is that you have a plan when it comes to investor relations. So investor relations is actually a really important component of building stickiness with a campaign, but also getting those investors to recommend your startup to their network, their friends, their family, who might also be people who would be interested in investing in your campaign. So investor relations does happen when you're live with things like doing updates, fielding questions, posting FAQs, being responsive as a founder, emailing people, doing phone calls, right? There's sort of that element of investor relations, but it also continues later on because so many people who've been doing equity crowdfunding campaigns continue to do them years in the future. So once you've built this crowd, you can really utilize that as almost like an asset or a tool to do more raises in the future. So that's why you want to make sure you maintain strong investor relations so that you can go back to the crowd whenever you need. Now, I know your head might be swimming and you might be like, Sal, this is so much stuff to keep track of in order to do this raise. But at the same time, the opportunity is massive. And if you don't believe me, just go and listen to some of my episodes of Crowdfunding Demystified on this YouTube channel or via iTunes or Spotify, and you can hear real founders that are raising 7 figures using equity crowdfunding with incredible valuations as well when it comes to their company. If you want just a little bit more guidance and handholding going into that raise, you are serious about this and you want to do it right, you want to dot your I's and cross your T's, go down below and book an individual one-on-one coaching call with me. I do think my book is a great place to get started, but if you're really looking to kind of cut through the noise, get down to the brass tacks of this and move forward quickly and aggressively, make sure you go down below and book your individual one-on-one coaching call with me at the link crowdcrux.com/coaching. All you got to do is fill out that form there. Tell me a little bit more about you, what your goals are. Tell me more about your backstory when it comes to your company, and we can get that call scheduled ASAP. Go down to the link down below and book that at crowdcrux.com/coaching. But regardless, I hope you enjoyed today's YouTube video. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I love to put out high quality education just like this. And if you want to receive that straight to your inbox, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up on this video and also leave a comment down below in a positive way. I got some great content coming out next week, so definitely stay tuned. But if nothing else, take some action towards your goals to impact the world for the positive, and I'll see you next week.